Section 3. Populus Project Funds. The Populus Project Funds are the portion of money within the Commonwealth from the collected taxes of the people whose use is allocated proportionately to the desire of the entire populace at each level, local to federal, as ascertained by the final consensus synopsis of each month's Populus Informer. The projects can be anything the people desire, such as a park, a mine, a solar farm, a factory, a bridge, a dam, etc. These desires are generated by the past month's major opinions, ideas, and concerns discussed by the populace as topics of the Informer, and voted thereupon at times in various stages for many months, such as a bridge. First, the general idea is to have a bridge. All agree. Next, the details begin to be discussed, such as where is the best place to build it and why, and then what type of bridge, etc., right down to the final paint. Thus, the entire community takes part in the discussion and the project, from the community engineers to the ironworkers, farmers, tradesmen, businessmen, etc., all giving their unique perspective. A closer bond is formed between the people and the projects accomplished by their society. A greater care and feeling that they have helped in some way is formed. Each month, between Informer issues, the latest topics will be discussed throughout the population, increasing the depth and detail of responses for the following month, leading to a final project that pleases all, and incorporates the thought energy of an entire people who also funded it. Thus, their works will be spectacular, and not rushed and dull like so many present-day projects. Buildings built in weeks, with no intelligent placement, altering land with little thought of the consequences, utilizing cheap and environmentally harmful materials, with no portion of artistic quality throughout. Each developing idea in its entirety will be available for all to view at any time within LAFKI. This individualistic system already exists in a corrupted form. For example, banks only exist because people give them money, and the profit that they have, made on the people's money by fractional reserve, now makes them an independent entity with its own money, even if it was had by unarmed theft. To keep this example simple, the banks get their money from the people. The corporations also get their money from the people in three ways. 1. By selling a product to them. 2. By having them invest. Or 3. By borrowing off a bank who is a pool of the people's money. Therefore, the people completely fund every entire operation as well as build it, just as in the individualistic system. The difference is that the profit and its privileges go to the top management of the corporations and the banks instead of going to the countless amounts of people whose collective nickels, pennies, and hard labor built the entire fortune in whatever systems were initiated along with it, be it a factory to a car to a bridge. Furthermore, the actions of the top management and the proceedings of the projects initiated are not directly controlled by all of the people involved. Beside the shareholders or product purchasers, there are the huge bank loans drawn which symbolize countless numbers of investors entirely not represented, all of the people with checkings and savings accounts, etc. The individualistic system equally represents each individual and their will throughout the entire procedure because their money is equally funding the project. Therefore, the profits of whatever systems become initiated by their will are returned to all the people in the form of reduced prices on products, special benefits, or quarterly lump sums returned to the populous commonwealth to be allocated towards additional projects or divided equally among the people as they desire. Section 4. The Populus Resource Reserve. The Populus Resource Reserve is the storehouse of energy for the respective level of the populace, from the local to the federal, the detailed operation of which has already been discussed beginning on page 30. They are the issuers of currency as energy certificates and will be the translator of the present hollow money system to the new fully backed energy certificate system until the old currency is phased out. They accumulate their reserves through trade with individuals and through the operation of populous facilities such as food crops, wind and solar farms, hydroelectric plants, fuel crops, etc. The system allows utterly self-reliant individuals to trade in produced goods for currency, to utilize other populous systems such as various facilities, lending, or to pay their taxes. The Populus Accident Fund. Being that no private entity may collect a pool of money without giving proportionate ownership in return, all insurance establishments are made illegal. The Populus Accident Fund takes the place of all accident insurance such as auto, worker compensation, homeowners, etc. It is a portion of the collected taxes whose amount is determined annually by its activity. For example, if the base premium was X for every individual, and at the end of the year a substantial amount was left over, that amount would be returned to the populace, and the following year the premium would be adequately reduced. Upon the reverse, the premium is increased the following year. This way, any major accident is absorbed and truly felt by the entire population. All individuals have the exact same policy. Each is responsible for the first $500. The amount owed is dependent on the amount of property one desires covered over the base fee, based on the average property value and amounts. If the accident involves one at fault, this one must repay the fund in part or in full as determined by the people. Such as if one was blatantly negligent, such as in DUIs, the full amount must be repaid on top of fines and labor force time. This system increases the level of responsibility for one's action and deters negligence. For permanent injuries, there will be no long-term payments. All accidents happen from some degree of negligence and are accordingly harsh lessons thereof. Society cannot be taxed for the misfortune or negligence of individuals. The individualists will list all such claims in the Populus Informer and have the people judge to what extent one's self-sufficiency has been affected, as well as the exact size of the monetary award, if any, such as in the case of an individual losing an arm, and furthermore, to what extent some may be willing to volunteer help. This deters the countless numbers of leeches who claim phantom pains and chronic illnesses and tax the rest of society for their lies and weakness. The society as a whole will clearly judge such things, such as a little girl caught in a flaming car and the middle-aged man claiming chronic back pain from a common collision. It is assured that society will shower the child with assistance and merely encourage the other to stand up and act like a man. Accident payments cover property loss and provide basic assistance until one is back on one's feet, as well as any additional assistance the people see fit to add. It provides no monetary award to pain and suffering, bar none. It provides no funds for medicine, being that is covered by the populous health system. Therefore, as part of the people's responsibility, they must list all their property with the HVR in case of loss. Unlisted property will not be covered. Private businesses must repay the entire amount, regardless of fault, because they are not considered essential to the owner's existence. They are assisted by an entirely different aspect of the fund dedicated solely to private businesses. This portion of the fund is generated by a portion of each company's annual collected taxes allocated into the private business accident fund. This keeps the potential massive losses of businesses from affecting the people, and keeps the assistance money strictly a pool from private businesses. Every 3 years, the unused portions of this fund, if any, are distributed into the Commonwealth as the people see fit. Section 6. The Populus Health System. The Populus Health System is a pool of funds collected from a voluntary, non-income-based, flat fee divided equally per capita of $4,090, about $341 per month. Adults are responsible to pay this fee for their children. The detailed discussion of this fee begins on page 86. Anyone may opt out of this plan, but if they happen to receive care, they will be ordered to repay the amount within 1 year or sentenced to time as a labor force member until paid. Thus, some may see it as a risk to opt out. Any overage in the fund at the end of the year is returned to the people, and the following year's fee is accordingly reduced. The practice of individualistic philosophy of refinement of body, mind, and spirit, with the excess time available to each citizen, will create a stress-free environment of powerful and healthy individuals. Each individual will be healthy longer into old age, and also less careless than the present-day average citizens. Thus, the amount of health care needed will progressively diminish. In the distant future, this program may be completely obsolete. Section 7. The Populus Militia. In the individualistic society, the entire population is required to serve mandatory military time. The detailed discussion of why this is found on page 132. With this surplus of soldiers, the police are rendered obsolete. The position is then filled by the people as citizen police, upon completing their military training. Each citizen will be schooled in law, the defense of their neutral nation, and the protection of their fellows. With each citizen as a previous militia man or woman, a strong camaraderie is formed, and the frequent power trip of authority figures is negated. The policing militia is seen as fellow brothers and sisters, taking their turn at the duty of protecting and peacekeeping, rather than being seen as alien authority figures. They watch over their fellows as opposed to watching their fellows. Their duties will be much the same as present-day police, save that their training is more extensive, being that they are firstly soldiers capable of defending a nation. However, it must be stressed that this system cannot be implemented until absolute neutrality is achieved and the government is downsized and back in the solid control of the people in a complete, direct democracy. Any deviation will be perverted into a terrible war machine, with internal military revolt against the controlling forces the only escape.